We actually, oh, no, not that. Probably don't want that. Yeah, I think we want that. All right, and are we on the stream? Twitch is running. Good. Come on, YouTube. You can do it. I believe. Are we on this? You can do it, and you can screw me over. All right. I think we're on all the streams. That's not what I want. I want this. No, come on. Yes. Thank. No. I just want the video stream with the chat window next to it. Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you. All right. All right, here we are. So today we are going to prepare the release. It's been a while. I haven't been on stream in a while. I've been off doing some work to bring the bacon home and all that. So since my mind is not in the ongoing work on SudokuPad at the moment, I decided I want to push the pending release that's currently in testing, because it's been in testing for a while. It has a couple of nice features. And that means that when I go back to building features in a couple of weeks, it's all nice and clean, up to date and all that stuff. So I was just doing a quick review with this little diff tool here. Where is it? Yeah, so the main features we added settings groups. So let's have a quick look what that looks like. So we grouped all the settings like this. That's done. We added auto repeat for undo. So if I now press this and just hold it down, it goes blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and the same for redo, blah, blah, blah. And that we want to tweak. So let's add some to-dos. To-do, tweak, auto repeat faster. So we want that a little bit faster. We want, yes, so we had the cosmetic smart select. So I think that's just, oh, we're not selecting. I can just select that and that. So that's fine. Then we have the diagonal pen lines, which I think work pretty well. I've used them on mobile a little bit as well, and they seem to be quite fine. We have a suggestions. Is that already in there? To basically allow edge selecting these further out. Let's double check that. Basically, so this edge marking could be used for people to mark external, do I have? Basically, Mark suggested we could use this feature to edge mark use clues, because that's something, you know, in the future I want to do a use clues proper feature to actually mark clues anywhere. But let's see if we have something like this. People could do this to mark this as marked. And I think all Mark did was that the edge, the distance from the edge can be increased. So let's have a look at that. Increase tolerance for outer edge X markings. So that's something we can do today. And that looks wrong. Yeah. And then finally, let me just double check where that feature would live. Oh, that feature would live in... So yes, we have the killer cage calculator. And that's pending a kind of a final tie-off, right? I have an experiment where I wanted it to handle multiple cages better, but I didn't like how it was going. So I'm gonna see if I can create a sort of releasable version. Create a release candidate for killer calculator. Mostly because it just needs a little bit of tweaking and it's already useful as it is. So that's the to-do list for today. Why was I looking at framework? I don't remember. I was looking at framework for some reason. Because there's a bunch of to-dos in here. So let's have a look at these. This is all a bit of a mess. Oof. Hope I'm not too rusty. 2 weeks, no streaming. I think that's the longest break I've taken since I started. Come on. Nope. Nope. This, 2, no. 3, yes. I don't know why that wasn't working. Okay, so we need to look at the groups code. Okay, fix default values and multi-select. Sort, organize settings. I think that's basically done now. So I think we can do this. Get rid of these extra spaces, right? Yes, let's reload that. So this is the diff between the release version and the current version, right? So for the groups, we did a couple of things. We've improved the framework to basically have features related to groups, including things like adding how certain items... I think this was actually mostly just a refactor because there was repeated code, which I just got rid of. This one... Ah, yeah, and I made it more tolerant to passing in undefined and stuff. So I was just cleaning up my internal sort of HTML element creation code. Then we added... Oh, the battery on my headphones is out, so the sound is very strange to me at the moment. So I hear mostly the fan behind me, actually. Speaking of which, is the audio good? Let me know if the audio isn't good or whatnot. Let me see if Mark is around. All right, so here we added some functions for adding the groups, and we updated show settings to basically filter out the groups and stuff. And part of the code was also to make it sort of backwards compatible. Hey, Mark! Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. So part of the code was also to make it backwards compatible, even though we updated the code, but in case, in the future, we want a clean API. If a feature gets added quickly without a group, it still handles it properly and all that stuff. Actually, I don't know how it handles it. So that's maybe something we want to look at. In fact, we can test it with the killer calculator. So I'll switch to the killer calculator shortly, and then we'll see that. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to look here on the framework. Oh, basically we just got rid of this comment. I think there was nothing else I need to do here. So we're gonna do just a little bit of this kind of code cleanup stuff. So like this is just nothing, just like comments. Yeah, we can do all this on master. So what else we got? We got these small updates. So Mark, this one is on you. So the auto repeat, we wanted to change the timing on that. And I need to find exactly where the auto repeat time was. To be honest, this is the sort of thing, in the future we want some kind of settings object. Yes, I mentioned this to you actually, because we have a settings object, right? So the question is, why is the code folding not working today? Is this the code folding working? Yeah. We have a settings object, so we could potentially push it into the settings object without necessarily having a setting for it in the UI. So I want to test that actually. So currently we have a repeat undo delay and we have a repeat undo interval, right? So this is basically how long we wait until, in milliseconds, until we start repeating, and this is how often we repeat. So we repeat 10 undos per second after 1 second, and we want to change this to 800. But instead of putting it here, I'm going to put it into settings with defaults, right? So the question is, if I put something in... so for example, we don't even have... I've never had a setting with a number before, right? So let's see what happens if we put this here. So settings are all lowercase. So we're going to call this repeat undo delay. And is there a word that encompasses undo and redo? That means, like, that's a singular word that means both of those. Word to represent undo and redo. This is the sort of thing an AI would be great at. I'd love to ask AI these kind of questions. I mean, it's a hard thing to Google. Undo redo. Everybody just says undo and redo. Undo redo, undo redo. Undo redo. Undo and redo combined. Action type What do you call that kind of action? Okay. Not something I'm going to spend much time on. All right, we call this under review to delayed. And right now I'm just going to set it to 1000. And we'll change it to 800 and down the line. And then repeat undo interval. So repeat undo interval is 100, right? So now the question is, if I refresh a puzzle on this page with this default thing, do we get something added here in the settings? So this is the settings object, right? So they are here. Okay. So now the question is, these, or we can just search for these all over. They're only used in one place. Is that literally the only place? Okay, so we are using, okay. So one issue with this is, at this point, so this might be a little too early, because this is happening literally during code execution, right? So we'd have to move this at the very least into the constructor, I think. But let's find out, right? So first of all, let's have a look at framework. In framework, we basically have some kind of way, oops, come on, code folding. That's, okay, that'll be it. We have a way of getting settings, right? So settings, get settings, set setting, init setting, show setting, settings to element, add settings. Is it just dot settings? Get app. Okay, so we're setting up the default settings somewhere. Let's find out where, because obviously the defaults won't be available before we're setting it. Here, init settings, init, okay. So by the time we're running work.settings dot repeat undo delay, for example, right? Okay. So I think we actually want a kind of get setting type function. So it handles with elements not found. We don't get, we don't get missing keys and all that. So the same way we have set setting here, we probably want to add a get setting. This is going to be a super small update, but it's going to be a small improvement, yeah. But it's going to be one of those low risk ones that I don't mind bringing in, right? So this is just going to be return f, whoop. So we're just going to do this. And one of the reasons I'm doing this like this is because I want to output, I want to handle cases where settings aren't loaded yet and all that stuff. All right, so. So I think, is that where this information goes? Yeah. And we'll have a object.keys here. So today is going to be a little bit of a cleanup, tidy up session, which is good for me because I don't have to think too hard and I won't risk making any big mistakes, and it'll get us some features into the app. So if I now do something like framework.getSetting ABC, it'll do this. All right. And we can do something like this. And then we'll just do json.stringify f.setThings name. And then we can add, So settings ABC is undefined. Good. Well, actually, we don't want to convert that to a string. Okay, now we can do something like selection, and it'll come back as cage. Is that correct? Why is there an extra space after the equals? There's 2 spaces here. I'm a little confused. Just a tiny bit. Ah, I don't think I refreshed this page, right? Yeah, okay. Okay. So, now the question is, at this point, at the point where the undo and redo functions are being executed, does framework exist, right? Warn test. And then framework dot settings. Let's see if those exist yet. And then get setting. And we just added repeat undo delay, all lowercase, right? Something like this. And let me just check the chat windows. Not very busy today, I guess. People got a bit sleepy since I've been streaming. All right, so it comes back with nothing, obviously. But if I do this now, it comes back at 1,000. All right, so that obviously becomes available a little later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this into the init function. That makes sense for it to live there, especially since it's dependent on this stuff. We could have hard defaults here. So we basically could replace them once the settings defaults are available. That's one way of doing it. Or we just could have a little placeholder here to say, hey, not ready yet. So if I do this now, something like this, and I'm just going to do console.error undo / redo not available before init. So if I do this, we'll have an undo and redo function, but it shouldn't execute before the stuff is available, right? And app.undo, nope, undo, no, undo, don't be funky with me. Okay, so this should be app.undo, application.undo, application, app, no, stop it, I hate that autocomplete stuff. App is not defined. App. Oh. .app.undo. All right, and if I execute it, undefined. Oh, because we've set it up in here. All right, all right, all right. And here now we want to do. So basically we want to do this. Like that. And we'll do this like that. I don't know why don't ask me why I'm changing the cases like that. I'm a bit inconsistent and weird. So p.init, I'll just output these here and here. And whoops. Undefined, undefined. Now the get settings here should work. Framework.getSetting. Get setting repeat undo delay was 1000. Oh, because we're not returning it. Sure. I guess that's why I didn't put a get function here, because ultimately we just get an undo an undefined back anyways. All right, but it's nice to have it set up like that. And in fact, I'll probably have this usage all over the place. So we probably in the future might want to change that, deprecate it and whatnot. But this, it's cleaner, have the function call there, even though we don't technically strictly need it. So, because I guess the one thing this could do is we could have an optional default right? And then we could do this or that. Now, if this is false, if this is false, it'll return undefined. No, we don't want that. No. What we want to do is, yeah, so the question is, if this is explicitly set to undefined, do we want to return the default if the default is other than undefined? Like, in other words, do we want to differentiate the key existing versus the value being set to undefined? Because I currently generally treat them as the same. But in this case, we might not want to. We might want to be able to set something to undefined and have it other than the optional default passed in. So, for example, framework.settings if I say selection in, it's true. And if I say ABC in false, okay, but if I say this, but ABC equals undefined, now I say ABC in, it becomes true, right? And I've never actually used in syntax, so I always use object.keys.contains if name, if not name in, return optional default. An optional default here will always be undefined, right? Well, I think that I can leave out. And then otherwise we'll do this. Yeah, we don't need this. Okay. So we can pass in an optional default because this is a very low level API, so it makes sense. Now here, we don't want to use these anymore, right? And we kind of want to get rid of these here now. Okay. And now, if I do something like this, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then Z and all right. Now let's change it to something shorter. Now, if I change it here, I don't think it'll be changed here because we already have the other default stored now. So we need to actually delete that now. Dot read under delay. So that should completely delete it. And then we should just call save settings. And that's what's saved. All right, and now if I refresh it, I should be able to press redo, and it should 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it should now do this after 500 milliseconds. And I think that's exactly what it feels like. So now the real value we want is 800. So let's change it to 800. Do that again. And then at least, you know, people who want it faster or slower have a relatively easy way. In fact, 800 is also a little sluggish still. But I think it's necessary to avoid people. Yeah, 800 is almost too slow. I think it's probably like, you probably want 600 or 700. What do you think, Mark? You asked for 800, but I'm tempted to go even faster than that. The only worry I have is that, especially on touch devices, people might accidentally hit multiple rounds unintentionally. Let's leave it at 800 for now as a safe place. Okay, so let's make our diff nice and tidy. So we've added this here. Get rid of all that. That's all we need. So we added this get settings function. Here we got rid of these. We added them to the defaults, and we moved the function creation, the repeat function creation, to for application. Better for me, but default is probably okay. Yeah, let's go with 700. Because The one thing I'm worried about is this is not a setting people can disable if they don't like it. So it's, you know, it's kind of like you could obviously change it, but that's like a, yeah. In this case, it really is a power user feature. And I mean, in the future, yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, 700 milliseconds is long beyond, you know, any kind of double click or long press timing or whatever. It might be a bit faster than your default mobile long press timing, but that's okay. So, yeah, so we've put a little warning there. This should never happen. We've removed it from there, added it to the settings default. We confirm now that we can have settings without corresponding UI. I mean, there's nothing here. Why should there be, right? It's two different, very different places. The settings themselves versus, you know, where the settings, the UI is defined. And this gets updated, no problemo. So that's fine too. So that's it, I think. So I think we're going to version bump that and push that. This is just going to be a quick patch. Unbump, patch. So that should now be a 0.2, I believe. Yeah. So that's read, yada, yada, yada. Move, undo, repeat, delay into settings. Redo, auto, undo, redo. All right, and this is version 0.170.2. All right, that's all good. So we have this is done. Ah, yeah, so the increasing the tolerances. You posted something in our Discord chat, so let me have a quick look at that. I think it was a week ago or so. Outside pen markings. So you said edge dist, cell ditched. Okay, so we're gonna look at the pen tool here, naturally. All right. And we're looking at you said a one-line change, but not which line. Better. So I have to hope the line is relatively similar to what you have there. Edge dist. Yeah, so I'm guessing it's this. And you sent me this instead. All right, so what do we have? We have this part is the same. Edge dist is smaller than 0.7 and edge dist is smaller than 1.0. That's a bit strange. What? If it's smaller than 1.75 and edge disk is smaller than cell disk times and edge disk 1.0. Wait. Do I understand this? All right, and then we have this clause. So, or cell column is 0, or cell row is 0, or cell column equals columns minus 1, or cell columns equals columns minus, cell row is columns minus 1. Really? I guess you mean rows here, right? I think this is a mistake, because otherwise it will not work correctly on non-square things. Edge distance is smaller than equals max edge distance. Or cell column is 0, or cell column is 1. Okay. Let me substitute this for a sec and output the info here. So cell column, cell row, column, cell row. So if I now do that and I click here, 0, 5, or 8, 5. Calls or rows. Call rows. Slash calls slash rows. Calls rows. So 8 and 4. Calls and rows is 9. So this one would be 1. Shouldn't this be 1? This is 1. This is 0. I think in the negative it'll always show as 1. I think somewhere up here we're getting an absolute value. Yeah. Why am I doing it like this actually? Because rows minus 1. So it's 9 by 9. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We only have... 1 second. So if I look at this. So 0, 1, 2, 3, nope, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 0 through 8. If it's column... And then this is still 8. So it's clamped to 0 and 8. Okay. So we're basically checking that we're not somewhere on the inner ones. Why would we do that? Well, let's have a look at edge distance then. So edge distance and cell distance. Okay. So we have edge distance, cell distance. I'm trying to remember. I think edge distance, how close we are to the edge, and cell distance, how close. So this would be 0 here and 0.5 here. So, okay. That's okay. So we're checking that edge distance is smaller than cell distance times 0.75. Because we're distinguishing cell markers from things. All right. And max edge distance is... So we're not really checking anything particularly for the outside. What is max edge distance? 0.04. So edge distance is less than 1.0. I don't understand how this gets into it if this is also in there. Oh, okay, so you're only doing... Oh, wait a sec. All right. So we're checking for max edge distance, but you're now saying that either we're only checking for max edge distance if one of these is not true. You're just increasing edge distance. Cell distance times 7.5. All right, so cell distance is... So edge distance is... Oh my god, my brain. And edge distance is like 1.0. Yeah, I think I want to separate these two out. So this goes in here with this guy. So right now we basically have these three things added together, right? So edge distance always has to be less than 1.0. So basically you're saying ignore these guys. So you're saying, okay, within 1. So if I click this, and we won't get a center thing because our center distance is very large here. And our center distance is... Sorry, our cell distance is 1 here because we're roughly 1 away from the near cell center. Okay, so we can actually ignore those. So if edge distance is smaller than cell distance. Yeah, okay, so that automatically works. So I'm thinking we can, we probably can get rid of this because the max edge distance is already only applicable to the outer edge. That's why it's in there. Literally, that's the only reason it exists, because those distances are always relative to the nearest one. So the nearest one, max edge distance. So edge distance, if edge distance is less than cell distance by times 0.75, right? So cell distance is a given. But okay, so we want this to be relatively close, and we want to make sure max is also much x. Sorry, this is 0.4. So this to be equal to this means that if we divide 0.4 by 0.75, we get 0.533. So as long as edge distance is smaller than 0.533, I'm thinking we can get rid of all of this. I'm thinking. And we basically replaced it by this. Or really, we've just increased max edge distance. I think that's literally all you've done. So, edge. Yeah, I think literally you've just changed max edge distance. So you've just basically did that. And then we can basically go back to this. Right? Yeah, so the 0.4 literally was just me basically disabling this feature. And I don't think it affects line drawing in any way. No, it does affect line drawing, but... yeah, I'm wondering if I can now line draw from further away, but apparently not. Cell marker. Oop. This is the edge marker. Okay, so if we just do this, what does our diff look like? 107. How did we end up with a blank line here? All right. YouTube is not able to connect to the chat. What the heck, YouTube? YouTube literally just logged me out in the middle of my stream. Is that not my... is that not my... oh my god, why is it not my... one moment, please. YouTube just decided, like, it's done this before in the middle of my stream. It decides to log me out of my account, even though I refreshed the page before and it logged in and everything was okay. So it's obviously not timed out or anything like that. And now, and my saved password apparently is the wrong one, which is also very strange. So now this is probably going to pop up on my main, screen, which is bad. I hope this, yeah, great. This is, oh yeah, keep it on screen for longer. That's great. Thank you for nothing. Holy crap. All right. Aye. I should have, well, I'm trying to keep it off screen, but it's not letting me. All right. Why does it have the wrong password stored here? Very strange. All right, I think the chat is up and running again. That was very strange. Sorry about that. I think we're back in business. All right. So this change obviously became much easier now. So refresh, confirm. All right, if I reset, no. What did I press? I don't know. All right, so now we can use this as a pseudo marker for the corners, and it's a super small change. Probably doesn't even warrant a patch bump, but we'll do it anyways. And what will we credit? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not going to credit that one to you. That was literally a variable I already had built in there. You already have too many features in your name. All right. So, hearing clipping noises behind me. What's going on? Allow edge and markings outside grid. That's a very minor thing. All right. So this now brings us up to date on the new features. I mean, the settings groups, they're kind of no-brainer. We've cleaned that up. Cosmetic Smart Select just works. Oh, not with the pen tool. So that just works. That works. Okay. Diagonal pen lines. That just works. And now the killer cage calculator is on a different branch. So we've done some changes to here. So let's see if we can switch to the killer calculator and update it to the latest. So, this should be a rebase, shouldn't it be? Cross my fingers, that doesn't blow everything up. It looks... alright, looks like there were no conflicts. Okay, that's great. So restart. Now... So now I'm curious actually where the... the killer calculator feature is in there. So I think I've already... Did I maybe... maybe I've done this before. Okay. So I think it didn't actually do very much. It probably just brought in the puzzle updates and stuff, and yeah, these two. Yeah, I think all the rest was already there. Because I already had prepared for the new settings dialog, so I must have done this last time. So we should have a group here, tools, yeah. And it's off at the moment, which is not helpful. Okay, so now let's go to something that actually has killer cages for testing purposes. And then we have to figure out what we're going to do with the cage calculators. So we basically have a couple of edge cases we want to clean up, right? So, pen tool, go away. So, one issue, okay, so there's one major functional issue is where scrolling doesn't work on touch. So any cage with a lot of, and I think I might have to force resize it by moving my console over to the side. Yeah, so we have the scroll list, right? And with touch, I believe this currently won't work. So that's something we need to fix. Oh my god, this is terrible. This to be bigger, right? So we need this to be scrollable with touch. That's just major functional problems right now. So fix touch scrolling. And I created a whole branch where I tried, if you select multiple cages or partially select cages and non-cages, it would create basic, like if I did this, for example, it would try to make these three cells a sort of virtual cage and then give you a bunch of information, but it was getting too messy. And for example, I would love to be able to, hey, this is an 8 cage, you know. I don't have a way of easily adding, setting these values right now, and I don't want to make the UI bigger. So I think right now I'm going to make it as a very primitive, simple killer cage calculator that only really is useful for pure killer Sudoku, and I'm going to make it disabled by default. I think I might actually put it into advanced as a group, and then let's collect some feedback, right? So let's fix the scrolling first. I've done the touch scrolling before with something else. I have to figure out where where I've done that. It might be in... It could be in the rules dialog. It could be in the rules dialog. So let me find something with a lot of rules. Yeah, not enough rules. I think I might be able to find something in the puzzle archive, probably. They are usually fond of making very long rules. Alright, so let's see. Can I find something with a lot of rules? Maybe this one? How long are the rules? Can I get them to scroll? If I make it a smaller phone? No! Oh, come on. Even if the phone is smaller? If I make the text larger? Nope. If I rotate the phone... what if I do this? Aha! Okay, but this won't be touch. That's the problem. But this might be enough to test it. Okay, so I put this on a phone and then rotate the phone. Like, oh geez, why is this so complicated? It's down there, rotate the phone, and yeah. So this thing has manual scrolling in there. Let's find where that code lives. Puzzle rules. Probably a good place to start. Puzzle rules. Mouse touch start. This. Don't handle rules scroll. There we go. And back when I built this, I thought, you know, I probably should have a generic scrolly thing. So let's have a quick look what this does. And I think it uses only these two. So we could probably wrap this into our utility function. Because there's really no reason to have these as sort of globals for a singular thing, especially since we probably want to do this all over the place eventually. Yeah. This is not our local version. Let's see. Ooh, a bunch of errors. Let's see. Rule scrolling not divided. Oh, because it is on this. So scroll up and scroll down. Scroll up and scroll down. Release. Clear. Boop. Okay. Look at that. So last position. And then rules last position and rule scrolling should be true, false. True, false. I'm just thinking, can I combine these two into one by basically just unsetting this? Where am I checking this? I'm not actually, I'm checking it here. If mouse down, type touch start, rule scrolling is true. So what if instead I do this? I'm just gonna unset this. And then instead of doing all of this, we'll do this, right? And then we can get rid of that. So this should work just the same now without that true false. Just by having that one variable that's either exists or doesn't exist. Yep. So that gets rid of this rule scrolling thing. Let's see where that is used. I think only in here. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And get rid of this reference. And make sure, whoops. Make sure we got rid of it all. Yep. Make sure it still works. All right. And I think there's nothing specific to this thing here, to this item. Handle rule scroll. So we kind of want to have a handler here, and all it needs is this thing, rules last position. So it needs one variable and a rule scroll. It sorts out the event, and it figures out the target itself. So the only reference to this is the last rules post. Ciao. So I'm just thinking, we need somewhere to store that information. We could store it on the function itself, like in a closure. We need a closure, right? We need data that sticks around, so we know if we're currently, like, we need to store state. Now we could store it on the element as well, but I don't like that, because if it's an element, it might get destroyed and recreated or whatever. It'll all blow up. So let's have a quick poke at turning it into a generic reusable function. Oh my god, my code. Did I just lose my volume? Yes, I just lost my volume. My code folding today is not behaving. Yeah, that's not right. Is that what I want? I thought this would be level 2, not level 1. Huh, strange. Alright. Hey, Nettic by Franco, how are you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Starting to feel lonely. I've not been streaming very often recently, I know, but I'll be back to my usual streaming schedule in a couple of weeks. So, we added a handler for... Where did we added a handler for the auto repeat, you're right. So we probably want to add a handler here as well. So what shall we call it? Function create grab scroll handler. And I don't think it takes any arguments here. Right? And then there's no this, right? So we can just do last pause. We just have an undefined function variable here. And then we'll return a handler that takes an event. And then basically does what we see up here. And we're not going to reference this at all. So I don't know if I want to have a pre-bound function here or not. But maybe we do. So we're just going to do this. All right. And that's getting us the information that we want. And then we have this. And we can actually get plus... no, we need that in here. Fair enough. Then last position equals position. Oh, wait, no. Pause equals get pause. I guess this works. And then we don't actually need to do this. Oh no, we still need to do that. And then here we're just going to do last pause equals defined. And then here and last pause. And I think that's it. And then up here, we can make this a standard kind of function constructor pattern. I think I usually use make here because it doesn't actually create a object or anything like that. And I think that'll do the trick. And this should just work. Right? Okay. I don't know if we're using this elsewhere. This pattern, I mean. Well, but for now, this is fairly generic. So, and it doesn't even... yeah, so we don't have a reference to an element or anything, because that's just happening here. So where are we setting this up? Show meta info UI, okay. And now, we needed... What do we need this for? We needed this for the killer cage. Alright. So, let's keep that down here as a reference. Killer calculator. And only... Okay, so here we have to set it up when we're showing them. When we're showing or hiding the cage. I'm really... I lost my flip-flop under the table. My foot has been tapping around looking for it for the last half hour. Alright, that feels better. I also have a mosquito bite on my back, so sorry if I'm kind of bouncing around a little. I am a meat puppet. Alright, so we're showing the cage. When do we hide the cage? Show multi-cage, show multi-cage. So this is the thing that's currently under construction. Get killer combinations, show cage, when it comes. Text contents, show cage. I think show cage is not the function we're looking for. I think what we're looking for is basically just a class toggle. Update maybe? Attach element, detach element, handle click, details. Handle click details I think is handling clicks on the list itself. And then handle click is the thing that may or may not toggle the cage. Class name min short open. Okay. So this always toggles. So if I'm here and click, because this also handles the click without toggling this, which is interesting. Does this not change this? It looks like it would. Oops. So if so this toggles it from handle click class list show cage, handle click show cage. Wait. So if it's closed, handle click. Show cage now, it's not there anymore. Class list. Open short, open. Click, open, 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 open. So both of them... Oh, okay. Alright. So open is the one we care about. So, warn, toggle, open. Now, I don't know if I actually want to attach or detach the event handler here. Probably not. We need a long cage. This one, right. So, let's try to remind ourselves how this all works. So handle rule scroll. So handle click. Handle wrap, handle scroll. And then we're initializing that when the whole thing starts up, I think. So basically an attach and detach. And then this is where that happens. Why do we have two? Handle rule scroll, handle rule scroll. Add handler, remove handler, add handler, remove handler. So this is always removing and always adding and never removing only. Okay, so that's not exactly what we want, but let's unravel that pattern. So we want to add handlers here. I guess the remove is in case attach element was not paired. I mean, we could call it detach sort of in preparation, but that seems a little... That doesn't sound right to me. So, I mean, I guess we can do this and then have the remove double up over here. So, if I do this on a cage like that or like this, we can't grab scroll. Because this grabs it first. Yeah, because we're preventing things from passing through. So I guess what we need is use capture here. Let's not worry about removing for now. We can do that once we know exactly what this what the function signature is supposed to be. So show cage. Now the problem is that stuff happens really early and preempts all of this. Oh wait. Oh, yeah. No, that's silly. I'm doing it on the wrong element. There we go. What if I skip these handlers for now, just to see if I actually getting attached correctly? Because now the problem is we're deselecting, because that's exactly what these are supposed to do. So these are designed to grab things first. So what if I move these higher up? And higher up than these two. We obviously need these. This is going to be slightly more complicated than I had hoped. So, add down event handler. Add event handler. So adding down event handler, I believe, is kind of synonymous for all of this. So add down event handler. No, just mouse down, touch that. But I'm also using okay, I'm using a whole bunch. So handle click details. Handle click details we won't need right now. So handle click happens here, and it does prevent default, prevents propagation. Wait a second. It does fire. The problem is that we never get to the scroll event because we're closing before we can realize if scrolling happens. So we need to toggle on mouse up, not on mouse down. The problem with that is we still need to avoid mouse downs from clicking through, because that causes deselection, all that stuff. So it's starting to get a little more complicated, and it makes me tempted to not include this in this release, just until I can clean this up. But let's see if we can take a quick crack at it. Because currently, let's forget all of this. Currently, this is handling down events. So if we switch this to a handle up event, you know, a click, then the idea would be, so the grab scroll hits, wait a second, so open the cage, select this, open the cage, select this, right, clear. Now if I press down to grab, the grab happens, but this also closes, but I'm not seeing a handle click here. And it can't, because the reason is it closed, not because we clicked it. It closed because we lost the selection. So we still need to prevent the selection. Okay. All right. So instead of a handle click, we need a handle down, which happens after the scroll, and it's literally just there to prevent the usual suspects. And then we'll have a handle down handler, event handler, and we're using handle down here. So now should be able to select this, open this up, clear this, and now, so we have a grab scroll and handle click. Why did we get a handle click? Oh, because we've mixed these two up. So that's up and that's down. Okay, so the point is we need to prevent the down events to go through. All right, and the grab scroll is not working because it's not on the right element. Okay, and then when we're done scrolling, we need to stop the click from happening. This is getting a bit complicated, but let's see if we can get the scrolling working first. So the thing that should scroll is this. Details, right? So this is the thing that should scroll. And so that goes on there. Let's see if that works first of all. So select this, do this, clear this, and nope. It's not scrolling. It is not scrolling. Why not? I can scroll wheel scroll it. So the question is it something in here or is it something because I'm not looking at the right element? Let's have a quick look. Are we scrolling details or are we scrolling the LI on the inside? We have details here. We have this. Is this what's scrolling? Position absolute, yada yada yada. Overflow hidden. Details. Overflow. We're looking for overflow scroll or something to that effect. And touch action pan Y. Let me look at something quickly. So document.query selector .details. Let's hope that there isn't too much. All right, dot scroll top. Okay, so that's definitely the thing that's scrolling. Pre-selected details. All right, so here we have scroll left, scroll top. let's just see what that looks like. Okay. It's not updating at all. So, diff element scroll left equals minus diff. But then afterwards, it's not changed at all. There's something else going on here. What is going on here? It could be some kind of CSS element that prevents it from scrolling, which hopefully is relatively easy to fix. So, details, any CSS here that might prevent scrolling. For a box, you select the Y. Don't think so. Scroll top equals 100. Let's just hard code that in there. So, pop that open. So I'm adding scroll top. I'm setting it to 100. But afterwards, it's not changed. Okay, so there's definitely something going on. Yeah, there's lots of glitches. Can you post stuff like that in the stream chat? Otherwise, I won't see it. All right, let's see. Scroll top read only. Can't scroll below the bottom or past the right. If the element is constant, if the element has overflow visible by default, at least larger than both scroll bar will be stuck at 0. If something hidden to scroll into view, then you won't be able to scroll past the end. If you set scroll top to scroll left to a large value, then it makes sense. It's a large value that makes sense. Because is it your case, you're trying to scroll just before its content is loaded and it's refusing to scroll. That's not the case though, because we clearly can scroll it. We can scroll it with the scroll wheel. Alright, so I've scrolled with the scroll wheel. Now if I scroll by dragging, and then look at the first value, scroll top is still 0. So what the hell am I scrolling then? And didn't I just confirm that this is... well, I'm guessing element is not what I think it is here. Okay, that's probably why. The event is being captured elsewhere. So element is the list item. Oh, okay. We want to figure out. So element event here. So the target is the list item, but we want to grab the thing that was actually off because we're doing use capture. So we're grabbing the first thing. So we cannot grab it just off the event. So we need to pass the scroll element in here. I guess we could do this though. And then here, so handle scroll, yada yada yada. This dot details element. All right, so that should do the trick. It doesn't do the trick, but cannot access element before initialization. Cannot access alum before initialization. All right. Okay. That's probably our fixed 100 units here. Yay, alright, it's working, woohoo! So, step 1. Now step 2 will be to actually make it work and have all the other stuff still work. So for one thing, when we're releasing the button, it just falls straight through. That means when we're done scrolling, we basically want to do all the prevent default stuff. And I think that's kind of universal. At least for... This should only happen though if we have actually scrolled. Yeah, because otherwise it'll always prevent it. Alright. So, last pause has scrolled false. Then here, equals true. And then we'll do if has scrolled. We'll do these two things. So if we have scrolled, we release it. Otherwise, we don't. Yeah. Well, has scrolled should always be false when we start here. And it should be set to false when we're done. Right. Okay, now that closes the whole thing. Now, that's a different problem, right? So, and the reason that happens is handle click toggle open. Handle click toggle open has scrolled false. Make sure handle down has scrolled false. Toggle open. Handle click details. Why does handle click details not kick in? Details on detach on handle click details. Why is handle click details not kicking in? Alright, I'm starting to think the killer calculator really is not ready for prime time yet. It needs a bunch of tweaking. It's a biggish feature, so it might not make it into this release. So, clear. Handle click. How did this work before? Why would because handle click details is added as a down event. And now handle click is also a down event. No, handle click is an up event now. Handle click, handle down, handle click details, remove down. Oh, because I didn't remove this one. That's why. Alright, sometimes the solution is easy. Okay, but now we're back to not being able to scroll. So this needs to be an up event handler. We don't know if we're gonna scroll until we're done. So handle has scrolled true, handle click details, show cache. So has scrolled is true, which does all of this stuff, but somehow doesn't prevent that thing from happening. And could it be that it's because it's listening to multiple events? Let's see. Touch and handle click details. E-type. E-type comes from event.type. So handle click details. Event.type. Is that like a different event then? Touch end. E-type touch end. So why does touch end? Even though we're telling it to stop propagation, prevent default, and all of that stuff. We're doing that here. And then still it falls through to handle click details, which means this must have already been triggered before we even got there. Use capture true. Do we maybe not need use capture? Oh, because it's on a different thing? Is that why? Because it can't... But it should still be able to stop that event from coming through. Also, the scaling here seems wrong. I'm a little confused about exactly where it's going wrong. Handle down, move, release. You got touch end, E-type touch end, has scroll true, handle click use touch end. Now the question is that from window or details element? And I think the problem is that this is listening to the calculators element. Well, click details listens to the details element. So shouldn't this touch end with use capture true stop that from coming through? Use capture means it should grab it first. Beginning, at the end, bubble. If they're executed in order, how they're defined. Say, defined for event listens false, true, true. Defined first, use capture true. So we'll get a 2. Defined second, use capture true. 4, 1, and 3. Now we're using use capture here. We don't use it here. But these guys might be adding it internally. So let's have a quick look at that. No, they're just passing it straight through. Oh man, events are a tricky business, especially if you want to handle things generically. So when we're doing this, we don't want any of this stuff to happen. But our propagation stopping X codes is not executing. So just to clarify, I'm scrolling. These both fire. So the question is, what events are we looking at? Are these different events? And I'm starting to suspect they must be, because otherwise, how the hell is this working? Here, scroll, release. So we've got a touch event. We have path of 12 items, They look like they're the same events. Is there some flag? Default prevented true. Default prevented to true. Okay, event phase 0. Timestamp, touch list, touch end. Cancel true, cancel bubble false. Cancel bubble false. Can I change this to true? Stop propagation. So stop propagation, stop immediate propagation. It's also not prevent immediate propagation to other event handlers. Prevents further propagation of the current event in the capturing and bubbling phase. It does not, however, prevent any default behaviors from occurring. For instance, clicks on links are still processed. Maybe that's what I need. Maybe that's what I need. This is a very shoddy API. Ooh. Now the one problem I have is that the smallest movement prevents it from doing that. And it's very easy to move it by a pixel and not get, like when you're tapping. So ideally it has like a dead zone. I'll see if I can get away with not implementing this right now. Alright, so if I do this, we can click these things, we can do this. There's no, you know. If I do, wait. If I scroll this up and down, okay. If there's nothing to scroll and I do this, and scroll is true. Yeah, that's the only thing. I need that zone behavior is bad. Also, why is this now offset? I'm clearly clicking on the 9 here. Yeah, I've noticed that as well. That's a bit of a prop. Oh. Here, the sun went bonkers. This is what Mark was pointing out. Yeah, this is definitely not ready for prime time. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna clean up this code, push it, because we definitely want to clean up that scrolling behavior. But it's not ready, unfortunately. I was hoping it would make it. But the killer cage tool definitely needs a bit more work. So but the killer cage tool is on, wait a second. The killer cage tool is already on test, isn't it? Is it not? I'm pretty sure I've used it. So it is already on test. Ah, that's awkward. Then I'm in the wrong place. It's not in the branch anymore. I'm making a mistake here. I shouldn't be making these changes on this branch. I have merged that branch already. Alright, we're gonna fix that. We're gonna stash these changes. Then we're gonna change back to master, unstash them, and see if we can just tidy things up, and then we'll move it into experimental or advanced or whatever in the settings, hide it away, and hopefully nobody will notice. Let's hope we don't get any merge conflicts. Don't think we should, since we've just merged master in first. Yeah, I thought it was already in testing. Doesn't make sense otherwise. Alright, so we've refactored the scroll function into here. I think that's fine. So let's push that first. What we call it? Refactor. I hope that's not a breaking change. We probably won't release today, but we'll get it release ready. So let's sit it there for another hour, for another week or so, and then I can push it refactor into utilities.js. Grab scroll, make grab scroll handler, and then this will clean up all our haphazard logging. Get rid of that. Oh wait, no, that's from, yeah. This is definitely not production ready. Ugh, and my code folding went bonkers again. 254. Get rid of that. Get rid of this. Random blank lines, alright. So, what did we do here? We've added the down handler. Got the click handler. Get rid of all of that. Don't think we need any comments here. This is probably super tiny on the stream. Sorry about that. So we have this here. And we were placing these. Right. And then detach. So we have add handler. And we probably want to remove these here first. And then we also want to remove them down here. Like that. And we probably want to do that here. Right, we want this as a this reference because we're instantiating this thing. Pretty sure that's what we want to do. Okay. Let me just make sure I'm not screwing this up because this can get a little hairy. These we don't need. So we've now added the removal down here. We've added the handle down. We've added these 5 lines here. We've added this one. We've changed these to up handlers. And that should be no worse than it was before. That's kind of the limiting factor right now. Okay, our other test case here. So if I click this, I can scroll this now. Yeah, there's also the touch target is off. Now, does this work without touch? Oh. I thought it was stuck for a second there. Yeah, I definitely need to test this for myself as well. We want to move this tool into experimental and or / advanced. So right now, which tools are there? Where are the other tools? Features? Yeah, let's do this. Advanced, right? It's just not ready. So it's under advanced, up here, killer calculators, perfectly fine. I'm almost tempted to put experimental, but we don't want that to be visible. Like a subcategory under advanced, maybe. Like the show replay tool. I think we probably can get rid of the wording experimental here for now. Not that anybody recognizes what that means anyways. It's a little obscure. Show replay tool. I think that's just a little confusing. Because now it's hidden sort of inside advanced, right? And the killer tool should be off by default. I don't actually know how the defaults would be pre-configured at the moment. Let me just delete that. Settings, boom, boom. I just want to see what it looks like. Ugh. That's not good. That's not good at all. Yeah, definitely needs to be sitting and testing for a while. Can't release that today, that's for sure. Made too many changes. Utilities line 20. Utilities line 20. Resolve selector. Events from each remove, handle remove. Resolve selector. Candidate properties undefined. Read and remove event listener. Element. Okay. I actually want to stack trace here. Uh-huh. Events, mouse down, touch start, mouse move, touch move, mouse do, selector, undefined. And this is from tool calculator, line 353, 353, details element, detach handler, details element. Well, I can't really do this after the fact, can I? Question is, do I need to do these separately? Probably. But also, this definitely shouldn't break on an undefined selector. So we do this. B, we split these out into two. Like that. And then we could technically leave this as 1. In fact, we can leave this as 1 as well. But here we split them out. Because we always want to remove the handler from window. No matter what. We don't want to have that lying around, causing mayhem. Okay. Let's make sure if I clear this again, it will still not break, not make a mess. So this shouldn't have any undefineds in the selector. Okay. I think there's a separate check. Yeah, this doesn't even need anything in here. That also doesn't need anything, it's just text content updates. Alright, so I think that should work now. So if I go here, advanced, kill a calculator, back, click, scroll, not in this mode, scroll, toggle, toggle. Now my positions are completely off. They're probably off by scrolling, by the amount that's been scrolled, maybe. Why does the sum go to NA? Doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. All right, let's push this change first. We can poke around a little bit longer. Add a touch scroll to page calculator. The sum should never be NA here. I mean, I worked on an advanced version, and it might be that I didn't bother fixing it because I was working on the advanced version. So we have a min sum, we have a max sum, we have filtered combinations, and eventually we should get a sum string here. And the sum string ends up as an NA here, which is very strange. after just clicking around for a while, basically. Oh, and A. So, filtered combinations, 2, 3, 4, and 9. Sum string is 18. Minimum sum. So, because our filtered combinations become 0, this doesn't do anything. Okay, so this happens when there's... Oh, because there's no... Okay, no, that makes sense, because there's no combinations. Because we've excluded everything, right? Oh, come on. Because, like, we're wanting it to have numbers in there that it can't all have. Okay. All right, so that's actually by design, and that's fine. Now, what I don't see is... Why can't I click on the 9? It's always clicking on the 8. No matter where I click. Oh, now I'm clicking on the... Holy crap. I don't even know where it thinks I'm clicking. It's like it's working on a different coordinate scale. Look at that. It's clicking the line above or the line... Oh. Another line below. It's almost a bit random. I don't know what's going on here. I want to click on that 9. Like every time I click, it's almost as if it thinks I'm somewhere else. Wait, let me go into mouse mode. Actually, into responsive mode. So now it should be more accurate because I'm guessing it's related to the mouse positioning. There's something wrong with that, like badly wrong. But that is not the bug that we saw before, where the sum just became massive. I mean, it's probably because of that, because I'm initializing it like this. So right now, yeah, so right now it's NA. Maybe maybe it is this case, and it's just there's some circumstance under which it doesn't display the NA correctly. Ah, okay. So I think it's when we have combinations, and then we're excluding the remaining ones. Like filtered combinations is like all combinations is not empty in some max sum. So let's try this again. Yeah, okay. So we have all combinations, we have filtered combinations, and then cage sum string. It's looking at these guys. All right. So if I say, okay, it must have a 9 and must have a 6, but can't be this one. Yeah. So filtered combinations is 1. All combinations is 11. And it goes through all the combinations. Calculates min sum max sum. And then sum string comes back as what exactly? So I think we can do this now in a flat layout as well. So we need an 8, require 7, and we exclude this version. Yeah. So sum string is this. So min sum max sum 0 0. All combinations is 11. So here we're taking the filtered combinations length into consideration. But filtered combinations is 1. So that doesn't take into consideration the manually filtered out ones, because those get excluded later. Interesting. So so after this, in HTML comes to HTML, filtered all comps, filtered comps. So this one, because we're basically just, this is so annoying. So we have excluded comps here, right? So just if anybody's actually listening, basically what's happening is I'm filtering out combinations by digits, but then I have a secondary filter where I can say, okay, I want to manually exclude a row, and that's not taken into consideration. So basically, it ends up finding a minimum maximum value, but excluding that here. But then later on, where we're basically saying, okay, we're showing an A when that happens, it's not taking that into consideration here. So excluded comps is, boom, excluded comps is 2. So we should be able to do filtered comps, comp ID, filtered combinations, all combinations. Filtered combination includes combination. All comps, comp ID. Oh, that's annoying because the comp ID is basically the index. And this filtered list is already without that index. Combinations. Combinations. We should really exclude the filtered combinations already here, shouldn't we? All combinations filtered English. Includes combination. Completion now. Valid, invalid, excluded. Not includes. Yeah, we have to start with all combinations then. So all comps dot filter combination comp ID so all combinations dot filter. Oh man, I gotta finish this quickly. I'm getting tired, it's getting late, and I still have to do some other work as well. We need this, and we basically also need to exclude the filtered combinations, which is going to be a little bit trickier. So all comps.filter is now getting us, yeah, we want the inverse, we want not xcomp includes and not. We want to AND these two circumstances together. So if I do this, right, filtered combinations, all comps.filter is now 10. This way around. So 8, 7. So all comps.filter is that, and if I exclude this, all comps.filter is that. So now this is 1 out of 11. Yeah, so filtered combinations should actually exclude those. Why did I do this separately here? Can we just... Can we just do that? Kind of do that secondary filter at that point. Ooh. What did I just do? I just cut it and then just went somewhere else. Thanks ADHD, that wasn't helpful. So if we just do this, then filtered comms should be what we want. And the markings should still look okay. Now we get 0 out of 11. Okay, I think that should fix it. We don't need to do any of this stuff. All we're doing is doing a little bit extra filtering. Now, should this actually do that? Ugh, because we might be using this elsewhere. Filter combinations. Should that exclude the excluded combinations? The problem is, I don't know if I'm not already doing that. Filter combination, all combinations, included vowels, excluded vowels, excluded combinations, filter combinations. What kind of filters does it use? Includes excluded combinations. So I think we can just do that, right? I think that's probably what was missing. It's probably what's supposed to be there all along. Yeah, okay. So that was what was wrong, really. That thing was missing. So the filter combinations function already understood that. All right. So we're gonna add a patch bump here. This should be 0.3 now. Close all of these, make sure I did not miss anything. So that's done. Blocked. All right, so the minor access to killer calculator. All right, I think this version is now the final release candidate for the next release version. So I think I'm going to let that sit for another week or so. Hopefully, well, I'll test it myself a little bit. I mean, I used the killer cage calculator, but it's not expected to be working fully, so it'll be hidden under advanced. Don't, you know, people use it at their own risk, let's put it that way. And I think I'm just going to publish this, and that'll be it for the stream. There's some stuff I want to do a stream on, which is planning an app, a new app. I've been thinking about things for a while, and I need more funding than I currently can get. And I've figured that maybe some people will be able to fund or to submit or to allow me usage of puzzles rather than money. So I was thinking maybe I can do a puzzle app with donated puzzles. And I would like to make it a bit of a community support project. So I'm working on something where maybe I can promote and link to other YouTubers that show puzzles off, showcase setters and puzzle packs of people who would donate the puzzles. I would like to have maybe 100 to 200 puzzles in packs of about 20 to 30 puzzles in size. And then maybe have two apps, a free version with, you know, the first 1 or 2 puzzles per pack. So in other words, that would be around 10 to 20 puzzles, a free version, and then a paid version with everything in it. And the paid version would also have the SudokuPad features in it. I'd like to call it something like SudokuPad and Friends or something like that. And maybe if I can set it up, make it a pay what you want type deal, at least on desktop, for people who want to support me. But I also want to, you know, not take advantage of free puzzles submitted to me. So it'll be a bit of an experiment, and doing it without the support of CTC. So kind of to see what I can do, just letting people know about it on the website and on SudokuPad. But I need to plan that in much more detail and see how I'm gonna figure it all out. In the meantime, I'm also working on a Mac version, so that project is on again. I have been provided with a MacBook by a Very, very, very kind supporter. And once I have that all organized and figured out, I'll let you guys know, and there will be an official Mac version of SudokuPad as well. All right, let's do the deployment, and let's put it onto SudokuPad.app as well. And I think that's it. Thank you very much for the support. I had a new Patreon subscriber recently. Unfortunately, I also lost somebody. I can't really blame them. You know, some people, they don't know what's going on. I mean, I'm asking for support for the work I'm already doing, not for new things mostly, because I'm already doing a lot. Obviously, if I do new things, then I have more work to do, not getting support for the work I'm already doing. So that's kind of a problem. But once my current contracting work is finished, I'd like to get back to more regular streaming schedules and really push those new apps out, the Mac version. See, maybe I can get SudokuPad to pay for itself. I mean, right now it's very, very far from that. It's all being financed by other people that are kindly providing me with funds to pay rent and things like that. So that obviously doesn't make a lot of sense for other people to play puzzles and puzzle games freely. That's not fair on those kind people. But I'd like to see where it can go. And let me check. So the new pen tool should let us do this. All right. Yeah, that would work. All right. Thank you very much for the support. Thanks for hanging out, Franco. I really appreciate it. And you know, you probably are. Yeah, everybody who's watching here is probably already a supporter over on patreon.com/SvenCodes. But you know, if you know some people on Discord or somewhere else that might not be not realize that there's opportunities to support the work here, let them know. And in the meantime, take care, have a good day, see you in the next stream, and thanks for hanging out. Bye.